Hey everyone, I'm Ben.
I'm Rom.
Welcome back to the One Piece versus 4K podcast. You should already know what this is. We compared the One Piece 4Kids anime to the Funimation dub, sometimes sub, and throw in comparisons to the manga. We're here today to cover episode 18 from the 4Kids side of things, and we will talk about what episodes we're covering for the Funimation dub at the very end. And also probably mention what chapters of the manga we're covering. So yeah, what's been going on with you, Ram?
On the One Piece end, this past weekend we actually had we've had both a chapter and a new episode. As far as like the new episode and like the graphics, the graphics in the animation in this arc has just been next level. And actually, one of the animators actually released. It was actually funny. I think it's relatively safe. Like he said that he apparently tweeted that he would give Luffy nipples in like one of the scenes, and then he like screenshotted that scene where he drew it and he posted it on his Twitter account, and it obviously blew up because it's like an American guy who's like animating it. I think it's like he works at an American company, like I guess it's an American company based in Japan, who does like Japanese animation that I guess Toei hired. I guess I don't know how the connection is, but they're doing the animation for this arc, and like honestly, like the animation in this arc has been next level.
Wait,
So yeah,
so Luffy has nipples now?
I mean he's always had nipples. It's just like apparently he made it a point to make it more apparent, and apparently it did in this
Oh, okay.
maybe not in this past episode, but maybe like a previous episode or something. But yeah, his popularity just kind of grew on Twitter, and yeah, people he's gained a lot of followers. I think his name is like Ben Thurlow. Actually, hang on, I actually started following him on there. Henry Thurlow. It's Henry underscore Thurlow. Thurlow. And he's an animator at D Art. Can't pronounce it. It's like Shao. It's like Shtajio. Um,
Hmm.
and it's like an anime studio in Japan, but it's like run by like Americans and stuff. But yeah, the animation has been like really amazing, and like he's obviously growing in popularity among like the One Piece fandom here in the U.S. Um, and he's been like posting like some he would post from time to time like little clips of like different scenes that he's animated. So we've been like enjoying that. So yeah, that's been really fun on the anime front. And as for the actual anime, we are really about to hit, and I think it's going to happen this upcoming week. We're really about to hit like an emotional plot point in this arc, and I think it's going to be waterworks for the fans come when this episode drops. So yeah, that's something I'm very much looking forward to. um, and on the chapter front, so we did have a chapter, but they're going on a 2 week break, and I think these 2 week breaks now, it's like we're in the middle of a war in the manga. So like I think they want to get like the war scenes kind of like settled, rather than kind of like, I don't know, it's always like well designed and well detailed, and it's all structured well. So maybe they just want to make sure they have the structure right. Maybe that's why they're going on frequent breaks, because it's like we've been having back to back like weeks, like back to back chapters where it's like 2 weeks, like a bi week. So it's possible that like these extra bi weeks are just so that we can have like continuous fight scenes ready. I'm not really sure, but it's they're in like the midst of war right now, and there's this one scene that's like really amazing in the chapter. So the chapter was really great. The anime was really great too. I'm looking forward to next week. I'll probably cry a little bit, and yeah, that's kind of what's been going on the One Piece front. On the personal front, I just got to spend some time with families and stuff this weekend. But That's it for me. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, my entire house has been falling apart.
Oh no.
Uh, yeah, so I think a couple weeks ago, I noticed a leak, like by my water heater,
Hmm.
um, or by my AC, and found out I had someone come to look at the AC. Found out that like they didn't they didn't close the pipe correctly. So after a time, it just started leaking.
Oh
Uh,
no.
so they fixed it, and now that's good. But then some like water is like it's dry now, but our flooring is probably needs to be replaced in the hallway because just a couple tiles probably need to be replaced. So I need to get that done some point, probably in a couple years. Um, I mean, it's not a huge deal. Uh, Luckily, it was only a little bit of water and it was drying up. Um, so that's fine. But then this weekend, we noticed a leak in our washing machine. I looked it up online and it said it's probably a pipe behind your washing machine. Even though it looks like it's coming from underneath your washing machine, it's probably coming from behind it. That's what something specifically said that I looked up. So I was, terrified and had to call a plumber over here. The plumber took a look at it and then, of course, said it was the washing machine. So I had to pay the plumber, and now I already bought a new washing machine. It's going to be coming on the 31st. Um, so yeah, I had to get a plumber to come over here and pay for the plumbing, or pay for him just to look at it and say there's nothing wrong. Um, and then now I have to get a new washing machine and pay for it to be put in.
The joys of home ownership.
Yeah, all happening at once. And like, I guess we can wash our clothes between now and then, but we just got to put like a towel down. Luckily, it's not like spraying out, just a little bit of water on the floor. And at least it's like coming out on the floor itself and not like from underneath it. Because I mean, if it's coming from underneath it, then the tile is going to get ruined. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I dealt with. Oh yeah, and then I had a really bad Sunday night. I was eating chicken wings and I broke my front tooth.
Oof.
So yeah, yesterday I got it fixed. Luckily they saw me right away, but I was really annoyed because I had called them and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can see you on the September 11th. That's the earliest we can see you." And I'm like, I cannot wait that long. Like this is not happening. And they were like, okay, well, we can, try to, they're like, oh, now we can probably try to get you in at a different office on September 3rd. I'm like, that's still way too far away. And like the dentist office I called, it's like a operator that tries to just schedule you. So then I called the actual office itself
Hmm.
and they said, this was really annoying too, because then they said, yeah, you can come at 3:30 today, but we can't guarantee we can do anything.
Wow.
So, yeah, I went there and I was just terrified that I was gonna drive all the way there, which is like an hour away because it's by my job. Um, and luckily they saw me and they saw what happened and they were able to fix it. It wasn't like I guess if my entire tooth had fallen out, that would have been a different story. It was just my bonding that had broken. So basically, they just had to put a filling in.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice.
But yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that was a process too. But I'm glad I got it done. And I guess if this podcast is still going after 2 weeks, you'll know that I'm safe and I didn't catch the worst virus known to man. But
Yeah.
other than other than that, this weekend I don't think I really did much. I played some games, I guess. Oh man, everything went wrong for me this weekend. I had recently bought a game and I went to play it, and the opening cutscene was stuttering the entire time.
Oh dang, that sucks.
Yeah, so I was annoyed at that, and I ended up solving it. I didn't look. I legally owned the game, so I went and downloaded it, and then burned it to a disk, and then it worked. Um, but that was another process in itself too, because I had to because this is an original Xbox game, and I had to use like programs from like 10 years ago to convert the file to an ISO, and then to burn it in some like weird program that stopped releasing 10 years ago. So yeah, that was a
Wait,
challenge.
so it's a single player game though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's single player, yeah, I mean,
Plus,
no harm, no foul.
it's like a like if you want to get into the legality of it, I own the game, so it's fine. But
Yeah,
technically,
me too.
I guess what I should have done to be exactly legit is I should have put the disc in my computer and then I should have ripped that own copy. But then if I did that, it might not have ripped correctly because it had a scratch on it that was making it skip. So yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I
Did
played
you
it.
did you get your first win in Fall Guys?
No, I didn't play any Fall Guys.
Okay, okay, okay.
Did you win in Fall Guys?
Dude, so about that. So I was really close. So you know how like in Fall Guys they have like a new like now, so before like the final game used to be like hexagon or the tail
Hmm.
thing, and they now introduced this like mountain that you race up.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that one.
yeah, and like and usually like I've gotten pretty close. Like sometimes it would be like third place or so, I'd be like the third person there, or I'd see like it'd always be. And there was this one time where I thought I was gonna get it, and then someone else actually jumped just like slightly ahead of me, and then they won. But this one time, I was just like in shock that I was actually gonna get my first win. I was like so hyped. I was just like, oh, I couldn't believe that I was actually gonna finally get like a friggin' win. And then I jumped, and then I forgot to press R2 to grab the crown, and so I just
Oh yeah,
smacked the crown, and I lost.
yeah. The first time I ever did that, I think I did get, maybe it was me or maybe it was my wife. She got up there and she didn't know she had to hit R2 and then lost too.
Yeah, it was just like if I just got that win, I think I would have just like I would have just been like done with it. But because I didn't get that win, I'm still hooked.
Yeah. Last time I played, it was like, I don't know, man. It was like people were like when I first started playing, I felt like I had a chance, but then last time I played, like people were so good like that I was like losing on the first level like constantly.
Oh yeah, I mean like the campaigning for that game has been like insane. Plus like their interactions with one of the more popular Twitch streamers, Tim the Tatman, like it's been like amazing publicity for them. So yeah, it's like the most popular game right now. And like Twitch
Yeah.
streamers, they play it for like 12 hours a day, and like obviously like all their followers are also gonna like play it 12 hours a day or something like that just to get multiple wins or stuff. So yeah, it's very popular now. So I'm not surprised that it's that like the skill level has raised dramatically for
Apparently
it.
a ton of people are cheating too. I think it's mainly on
Ooh.
PC though.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Yeah, I mean I've been mainly playing on console, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
guess we should probably get into this episode.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so episode 18, my episode title was Zolo's Pledge.
That's a
Uh,
great title, honestly.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and also there's no like stupid pun in the name.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, it's a great title. But yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
and I do think it's really, really is strange that the title, like the real titles in this anime, like are like like a plot summary almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. But yeah. So the episode starts off with the crew aboard the ship. Zolo is relaxing, sleeping kind of, while Luffy is bringing up a heavy box marked danger. Nami tells him to be careful, and he reveals it's a barrel full of cannonballs, and Luffy wants to learn to shoot them. Usopp begins to say he has tons of experience with cannons as Luffy screams over to Zolo, asking him if he knows how to work it, but Zolo is sleeping and doesn't respond. Nami tells Luffy there's a rock coming up that would be a good use for target practice, as Usopp asks if anyone's listening. Um, so I guess now this means at this point that Nami is like the navigator, right?
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
the navigator.
But I do think it's really funny. I guess because we'll circle back around to it later, but like what the hell is the point of there being a rock of it, like showing that rock on the map? Because like later on when they see it, it's not that huge. Like you wouldn't think it would be something that would be on the map, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. Like it's not like I just pictured it being like this gigantic rock formation, and then it's just like like a small little like thing sticking out of the water.
Yeah, it just has a little bit of plot help.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. So then all of a sudden it cuts to Zolo. I guess he's. I don't. I guess it's supposed to be like maybe he's thinking back while he's dreaming or whatever. Um. We see Zolo as a young boy walking up to a dojo, yelling in at the teacher that he wants to fight his best student. He says he's taken on another school, and the dojo master says fine. But if he loses, the sensei will then become his teacher. He then calls a student named Kuina, who's a female that's much older than the younger kids that he's currently training. But I guess she seems to be like around teenage years. Um, the sensei reveals that she's his daughter, and then he says that he can use any of the swords, as Zolo grabs a handful of swords in each of his hand, like 3 or 4 each. And it's kind of funny because he's carrying so much that he begins to drop some as he's moving. But the one thing that he does do that I thought was cool is we do see him have a sword in his mouth, and that becomes a signature later on.
Yep.
And then Kuina just grabs one sword. Then the fight starts. She immediately slaps him on top of the head and knocks him down. Zolo gets back up, grabs 2 swords. Kuina asks if he studied in the Axe of Two Sword, and he says, "Heck no! This is the first time he's ever used a sword." He then holds out um, both swords and goes for an attack as Kuina hits him in the head once again, and this time like really kind of like knocks him out. One of the students nearby asks why he didn't parry, and Kuina says he might want to learn to master one sword before he uses 2. Zolo then promises to practice and practice with the sensei until he defeats her. So is that pretty much the same for you so far?
Yeah. So far, there's actually a huge thing with the manga, but I feel like I should probably mention the manga part at the very end, just because of that. So,
Okay,
but so far with regards to the anime, like yeah, everything so far lines up. Yeah.
got it. So then we see a whole bunch of training montages of Zolo practicing day and night in every season. We then see him being defeated by Kuina once again, as she's telling him that he needs to try harder, and he can't even beat a girl, and he's such a big wimp. And the other students at the time then just reveal that he's now the strongest of all the boys and even some of the men by now. Kuina walks off as Zolo gets up. The sensei reveals not all is lost, and the other kids say it's not fair that his daughter must have special training. The dojo master says time changes everything, and soon enough, he will be strong enough to win. We then see Zolo talking to himself about not being able to beat Kuina as he's cleaning up, and says she won't stand in his way tonight. Kuina is, like nearby listening in. We then see the sensei and another member talking about the battle as Kuina overhears her father say that it's been 1 year since he's been training and soon he will beat her. Kuina bursts in, pissed at her father. Her father says, it's don't burst in like that. Kuina says that how could she doubt? How could he doubt her skills? Her father says that she'll never be the strongest because she's a girl. And then we see her crying on a rock as Zolo walks by and challenges her to a sword fight. This same so far from your end?
Actually, there is a bit of a difference. So,
Okay.
as far as like the argument with her father and the other guy, so the argument is that her father is kind of old school. His thing is that like, yeah, they do talk about how like Zoro and Kuina have really progressed, but the big thing is that her father says that like it's unfortunate that she's a girl, because she's a girl she can't take over the dojo or something like that. And then the father strictly tells her that she won't ever be the greatest because she is a girl and stuff. So a lot of very old school mentality kind of thing there. So yeah, and because of that, yeah, you see them crying. So just that little part, I guess, like I guess they forgot to leave out the part where her father straight up tells her that she can't take over the dojo because she's a girl or something like that. But yeah.
Got it. Yeah. That definitely did not happen. So Kuina then agrees to the fight and goes to get her blade as she says courage and conviction. We then see Zolo prepare with two swords and attack, and they both start attacking each other and are holding their own. All attacks are blocked as Kuina reveals that real swords are heavier. She then knocks him into the air with an uppercut and stabs near his arms as we see his other swords fly into the ground. I thought the scene was kind of weird because she like she like knocks him into the air and then he's like down on the ground. She like stabs like right in between his arms and um and then like way like after she's doing this, then like like seconds later the swords like come flying down into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just I guess they flew up so high. I don't know, it just seemed like they would have already flown down, but it's just I guess stylistic choice that they did.
Yeah, and I quickly want to mention, so where you said that she takes the sword and says those two things, actually in the regular dub and sub, like she actually says the name of the sword, which is the Wado Ichimonji.
Oh,
So
okay.
she doesn't actually do that. She just says the name of the sword and
Oh,
how
wow.
legendary it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so Zolo then cries what's wrong with him as he just can't beat her. Zolo says he's not strong enough, as Kuina reveals not yet, but soon he will be because he's a boy. She says that the stronger he gets, the better he will be, and that her father was correct, and that it's just the way it will all work out. Zolo's pissed and tells her not to tell him that, as it doesn't matter, and it's if she's telling him that, he's gonna feel better about himself. And he says it doesn't matter that she's just a girl. It's all about heart, and don't let anyone tell her otherwise. He then makes a promise that one of them will become the best swordsman in the land. She agrees as they shake hands.
So yeah, here's another thing, and I guess I mean, I don't know. I guess like this is something that they need to censor. So she actually talks about how like she is eventually going to get weaker than him because she's a girl and stuff. And she talks about how like she's developing as a girl and like she actually grabs. She doesn't grab it, but like she kind of tugs at her boobs. So and you see Zoro kind of get a little red with that. So I guess they cut out that part, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Um, but did she still talked about that her father was correct?
I mean, yeah, the conversation was pretty similar. She says that just like biologically that like he's just gonna become stronger than her just because like she's a girl and she's gonna get weaker, and then he's a boy, he's just gonna get stronger, something like that. But yeah, Zoro pretty much says that don't that's just an excuse, don't use that. It's just yeah, same thing, conviction and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then, I guess it cuts to the next day or a couple days later. We see Kuina fight an opponent as three boys look on impressed that she had defeated him. We then see Zolo training more in the forest as the three boys show up. The three boys tell Zolo that she defeated a guy, and the rest of his friends showed up and attacked her, and now she's in the hospital. Zolo runs back to the dojo and defeats the rest. I guess it's supposed to be that he's defeating the rest of the guys, right?
No, this is
No,
just
he's just defeating other people.
no. This does not happen at all.
Oh. All right, well, so let me just get through with this part. So
Okay.
Zolo runs back to the dojo and defeats a bunch of like random people. I guess it's supposed to be made that he's defeating those guys. I don't know. Um, We then see him training more as it appears Kuina is behind him, but he turns his head and she's gone. All of a sudden, the dojo master shows up and tells Zolo to follow him. The sensei says that life can be cruel and that Kuina wanted nothing more on this earth to be the best. And then he arrived. He says that he thought that since his daughter was a girl, that she'd one day lose, but she had proved him wrong. The sensei says because now this is the part that just confuses me. He says because of her injury, she will never be able to fight again, and all her dreams will be unfulfilled. Um, so I guess I'll stop here. Well, let me go on for a little bit longer. So then
Yeah.
Zolo begins to cry and tells the sensei to give him Kuina's sword and tells him of the promise. Zolo then says he will never forget the heart that Kuina fought with and that he will be the best. The sensei says he entrusts him with Kuina's sword and her dreams. We then see Zolo, like more grown up, chopping down two rocks with his sword as the sensei reveals as he reveals to the sensei that he's leaving and going to become the best. The sensei says, Zolo, do it for Kuina, as he is then seen waking up while Luffy is shooting the cannon. So,
Okay. It's
yeah.
weird that Kuina didn't come say goodbye to Zoro or Zolo when he's leaving.
Does this happen in yours?
No. So
Okay,
no,
yeah,
this is
okay,
I
I
mean
got
for
it.
the yeah. So actually so back in the scene where the three kids come to Zoro all worried um when he so like Zoro's after he's like been beaten by Queen and they made that promise and he's like training again. The three kids come to Zoro and they say like there's been an accident. Kuina fell down some stairs and she's now dead.
Oh,
And he runs back to the store. Not the store, sorry. He runs back to the dojo, and yeah, I mean, sure enough, like they had then like they have the funeral procession. You see the paper, the cloth over her face and stuff, and they do the funeral procession, and he walks. They do all the funeral stuff, and then Zoro is kind of continuing to training, and then the master kind of brings him into like his, I guess like the altar, and then like they talk about it, and then that's when Zoro finally cries his heart out at Kuina's death. And then yeah, they talk about the promise that Zoro and Kuina made, and then um, Zoro asks to take or borrow the Wado Ichimonji, which is Kuina's sword, and the sensei's like, yeah, um, he gives it to him, and then yeah, and then we flash forward to the present where right before Zoro is about to head out into the quest of becoming the greatest swordsman ever, he first pays homage to Kuina at her grave. He lights like a little sage, I guess, in like some spiritual thing, and so he lights a sage, and he tells his sensei that he's leaving, and then yeah, he departs, and then he wakes up.
Okay. Wow. Totally different. That's, and yeah, people say that in the 4 Kids anime, no one can ever die, period. But there's so much things that are really confusing because of that, because it doesn't make sense why he's like so upset and crying, and it doesn't make sense like why why he's talking to the the sensei about taking her sword. Like, why doesn't he ask her if she's still alive?
Yeah.
um
Like, so, oh
yeah.
yeah, one thing I do want to mention, that scene where you mentioned that she's like watching him as he trains, and he looks back and she's gone. That is also a scene that happens in the
Okay.
Funimation dub, but it's more so, he's thinking about her
Yeah.
as he trains, kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's exactly how it felt too here. So when they showed it, it's like, oh, well, then she is dead. But then they have the freaking sensei flat out come and say, oh, she'll never be able to fight again because of her injury. I mean, maybe he's referring to because of her injury of her being dead. She'll never
Yeah.
be able to. I don't know. But also,
Yeah.
it's just like, also, it's weird because it doesn't make any sense. Why in the actual manga and actual anime, the Funimation version and the real version, is it that she dies by falling downstairs? Really? Like,
It's weird, man. Yeah, they even yeah, it's like that's the reasoning that they say. It's possible there might have been other reasonings, but like they don't delve into it. But
yeah,
yeah, it's just the stairs thing is what they went with. Maybe it's possible what's happening in the current arc more will be revealed, but like what I mean by current arc, as in the arc that's currently going on right now, the Wano arc.
oh wow.
Um, because man, there is so many connections between the Wano arc and this flashback that it's insane. But yeah,
Yeah, that's weird, and it's just weird that in the 4 Kids that it at first seems like, yeah, no, she was killed by those guys that showed up, and then it's kind of deflected, saying she'll never be able to fight again. But it still implies that those guys injured her for life, which
yeah,
is
no, they're
violent in itself.
yeah.
Um, so they're adding violence here, but then it's okay to add way more violence than the original intention as long as she doesn't die.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, no, there's no attack on, like, she doesn't go beat some guy and they retaliate. No, there's no nothing like
And I
that.
guess that explains why it's so confusing, because it's literally just like a 30-second scene of you see Zolo fighting like some men.
Yeah, I mean that's more of
Yeah,
his training. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, after that, when he wakes up, um, yeah, so he wakes up and from the cannon firing, and let's see. Yeah. So then Usopp reveals that so yeah, Luffy shoots the cannon and is far off, he misses the rock. Then Usopp reveals he can fix it. easy as he adjusts the cannon and fires the rock and says, I told you, Luffy, that I could do it. Luffy says to Usopp that he's now the ship's gunner. Asks Usopp says, well, if I'm the gunner, then who's the captain? Luffy reveals that he's always been the captain. Luffy then says that there still needs to be one more member of their crew, as everyone agrees. And Luffy says, everyone agrees that they need a chef. Luffy then says, that's right, they need a singer, as every good crew has one. All of a sudden, a man in a hoodie shows up aboard the ship and screams, show yourselves. Luffy asks who he is, but he tells Luffy to be quiet. The rest of the crew are, back in the cabin, like peering through the window as Zolo reveals it's only just one man. There's no need for them to all go out. Then Luffy attacks him, sends him flying into the air as Zolo comes out and says, hey, are you Johnny? Or he says, hey, you're Johnny. Johnny asks what Zolo is doing there, and Zolo asks the same. Then Luffy says, this should be good. And then the episode ends.
Yeah, basically same thing. Zoro wakes up. A guy kind of like enters the ship because it's one guy. Zoro says it's fine if it's just one guy, and then he recognizes that it's Johnny, and the episode ends.
Got it. Okay. So what happens in the manga?
So here's the thing about the manga. This the flashback sequence, which was kind of the thick of this episode, it happened way early in the manga. Like it happened way before even before Orangetown arc, where we're introduced to Nami. Like this happened way back when. Like this flashback happened in chapter 5 of the manga.
So did it happen like right after Zolo had joined the crew?
No, like so you remember in the episode where Zoro and Luffy are about to fight the Marines in Warship Island. That scene where you see Zoro have a flashback of the girl, Kuina.
Oh yeah.
They do like a bit of a flashback then, but in the manga, that when he has a flashback of her, he has this full flashback. Like this is like all
Got
happened.
it.
Like
Okay.
I think I even mentioned in that episode.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. So this was like I said, like this happened in chapter 5 of the manga, whereas like in the anime it's like episode 19. Or I guess for it's episode 18.
So what's your episode's name from the Funimation?
The episode's name is The Three Sword Style Past, Zoro and Kuina's Vow.
Okay, got it. Yeah, well, that's interesting, and it's also kind of weird too that they, like, I guess they want to call back to it. That's why they showed a brief, clip of it when he's tied up with the Navy. But almost to me, it's like you should have just not even shown anything there, and then just dedicate this whole episode to it, because I totally forgot about that flashback part from like way back when, but I guess it is kind of neat that you finally get to see the whole story that he's just thinking of for a brief moment. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting. This episode, they cut out a whole bunch of stuff. They really skirted around death, added some violence in the whole situation. Paralyzed Kuina, and they paralyzed her so much that she wouldn't even come out and say goodbye to Zolo.
Yeah, there's like one other thing that happens later on that people are like, huh? But we'll leave that to when we get to that. But I think I had like a question regarding this, but I completely. Oh yeah. So what were there any unique accents? Like did the sensei have like a unique specific accent? Any of the other kids have any kind of like specialized accent or way they talk or anything?
No, Nothing
Oh, did
was
they just
out of
go
the
crazy?
ordinary. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check with you on that. And they were using like actual blades, like sharp blade swords in the final fight, right?
Yes, yeah. But before that, there was no sharp blades. But yeah, in the
Yeah,
final
it
fight,
was
they're
bamboo.
using. Yeah. But
Okay.
did they?
And he was like training with like a rope hanging around his mouth as he's like bobbing up and down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Um. But in yours, so did they ever strike each other when they were fighting, Kuina and Zolo?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it wasn't like blood, but like it was like a bump that with like the red markings and stuff.
Oh yeah. Never got. They're amazing in the Four Kids dub. They dodged every single attack.
Oh, okay.
Well, at least it seemed like that because there was no blood. So that's
Yeah, I mean
what
there
you can
wasn't
only
blood
assume.
here. It was just like bumps.
Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Well, it was interesting. I'm really excited to see Kuina come back in another episode. Hopefully, actually, like you said, maybe you're gonna find out that she really doesn't die because you're saying this is playing a lot into it. That's why she, quote unquote, falls down the stairs. And the Four Kids anime, they were really on to something here, and that's why they just had to cancel it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of it's a little difficult to know that that's actually Kuina when they actually showed her funeral procession, though.
It's she comes back out of the grave. It's because the sensei wanted to protect her.
Yeah,
So
that's
she
certainly
had to
possible.
go
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as like Kuina coming back, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Can't wait.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. I think that is it for this episode. We will see you guys or hear from you guys next week.
Cool.